as many people have already talked about today, a very hot topic in Node is TypeScript. Well, I actually have good news for you. We are already quite a lot of the way there, and it is possible to do this with just a teensy bit of effort and knowledge yourself. I myself have been doing this for like over a year at my current job, and if you copy-pasted this right now, today, this works. So you can run TypeScript in Node pretty seamlessly, and it has improved quite a bit in Node 20. So the bad news is it still does require a bit of configuration and knowledge. Ideally, you would just feed your stuff to Node, and Node would figure out what to do. But if you try to run Node main.ts or whatever, that won't work. And unfortunately, Node is not particularly helpful when it doesn't understand your code. Sometimes it will just give you like a shit happened syntax error message. And if you don't know something is missing, you're like, that is perfectly valid TypeScript syntax, what are you talking about? So this increases the burden and fatigue on users, especially new or like more junior users who don't know what's going on. So when we want to address this problem, we very much do not want to vendor TypeScript as some other runtimes have done, because most importantly to me, we do not want to adopt TypeScript's problems. So we want to carefully consider how we support these, and importantly, a considered system need not be artificially limited to TypeScript. It could work for CoffeeScript, it could work for what have you. So other reasons, there are just too many of these things to deal with ourselves. Other people are already solving these problems. They change too quickly, so if we put it in, we'll always be lagging behind. There is no particular need to put ourselves in that situation. And as I mentioned, we don't want to adopt those problems. So what do we want? Basically, we just want to do this and have it more or less work. A system that facilitates packages to just work with all of the groundwork sort of taken care of. So as a little experiment type thing, you've run this. Node says, I can't do this, but I know what to do. It presents the user with some options. They choose. You get the usual information about the thing. Go here to read more. Node tells you that it understands. This is what it's going to do. This is what it has done for you. And it takes you back to what you were doing before, so that you don't have to repeat yourself. I think we would not want to take the burden on ourselves to compile this directory of extensions. I think we would want package authors to register their package with us in some way, and then we just produce that list here, probably in like alphabetical order or something, so that we don't prejudice people for one or the other, because we don't care. So that leaves us with a few things to do. The groundwork for this, as I mentioned before, is already done. It's working, so far as we know. So basically what is left to do is that sort of wizard that I just showed you before, if that is the experience that we decide we want to have, and what it is doing under the hood. There are some very simple and viable solutions that we could opt for now in the next session and get out the door very quickly. For instance, if we just add a field to package JSON and we handle the extension as just a dev dependency. We leverage the vast majority of things that are already working today with just like a tiny bit of glue to bring them together. There are a few other options, but that seems the most straightforward. We would also need to consider how these extensions or handlers get updated. If we go with the dev dependency route, then that's taken care of for us. But if we choose something else, we have to make sure that that works. And then we need to support the package authors. So far, they've kind of been like limping along and like getting the job done. One of the things that we have kind of made a bit more difficult for them is the sort of like monkey patching that they were doing in Common.js. They can't do that anymore. So they need like a blessed way to do the things that they were kind of like on the sly doing before. And we want to provide that to them, and they want us to provide it to them. So it's just a matter of figuring out what specifically to do and how to do it. We have a design document for this already that has sort of been sitting on the back burner whilst we stabilize the customizations API. If we had already actioned on it, the very real danger is whatever we provided to them could become stale and would cause like a lot of churn for them. So these helpers would not be so helpful. And we have published our roadmap. We have sort of just reached release candidate status for customization APIs, which means that we believe it has everything that it needs to do for prime time. And we are just waiting to like receive reports and that sort of stuff. So in how I think the TypeScript support will work, it will leverage these things. So this is kind of an important milestone for that. So what that means is as of like a few days ago, we are ready to move forward with this final piece so that it just works. And that's my TED Talk. Any questions, thoughts, concerns, fears?
So not having read the proposal, like storing the list of things that are registered, that's in the package JSON you're saying, or somewhere else?
The options of what you can do to install for this, the sort of like registry. That would not, the whole list of what you can use would not be in there. It would be just the choice that the user has made. If we do have this registry built in probably to Node, it could be built into the binary itself, or it could be like a remote like API that it calls out to. Different implications for each. Like if it's built into Node, that means we can only update it when Node updates. If it's remote, that can be done in more or less like real time. Various other challenges.
Would it be possible to do like a built-in per version and then have a flag or something that'll do the remote? Because I don't really want Node calling out to like a remote server to check that on like first use. But
so I was thinking about this, and so what is the reason you don't want it to do that?
That's a lot more security work with teams running Node that in production for me. So that's like one side of it, right? Like that's going to be something that needs to turn off, either have them turn off, or, and that's obviously separate from first use. Alternatively, I know a lot of engineers at like finance companies and stuff have pretty locked down systems. A random remote call like that won't be allowed. And then additionally, I just don't like that feels like a potential threat in the future for it being mismanaged and the runtime making network calls and like getting a bad payload or something like that. So those are just like the general worries I have. Additionally, just reducing phoning home as much as possible.
We faced something similar when we tried to include a flag like -- check updates, and or whenever you run Node.js
Mhm.
You know? So, and there are some constraints, like there are some companies that runs Node.js without offline, in the offline mode. So you cannot make HTTP requests or remote calls, and that will be just one of the constraints. And beside of the security side, but well, unless it's opt-in, I think that should be fine, I guess.
Sorry, unless it's what?
Opt-in.
Opt-in,
You
yeah.
use a flag for that to
Mm.
allow it somehow.
I think both options are probably very viable.
Do you have plans to, let's assume, for instance, that ESB is installed via package run by the user. In that case, will not auto-detect that and does not try to install it manually? Yes, right? For instance, if ESB is already installed in the node modules folder, will you use it or not?
I'm sorry, I can't.
Let's say you run a node named TS, right? And you say, okay, you don't have anything installed.
Sorry, wait for him to stop walking around.
Okay.
Yep.
You show that there is a node will ask the user to choose which
Mhm.
get TypeScript management to install. If the user already installed one via NPM, will it use it, right?
Yes.
That's how we do it, avoid the...
Okay, so you install it during the CI and
Yeah.
that question will appear.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like if.
So we do it, avoid the library want to batch fashion.
But this is the list of the things that you can, he started with the list of the things that you can use once they've been installed. So it's like the manifest of things that can be used for like TypeScript vehicles or whatever. And like reaching out and updating that remotely by default, which I don't completely want.
Okay.
The thing is that I was thinking that if we are in a bounded environment where we don't want live remote fashion to happen,
Yeah.
the user opts in advance to install ESB or whatever via NPM, and then there is a flag to block node to try to download anything that's and we solve the problem.
But I think we still need an allow list, right? Because we need an allow list built into Node of the things that can turn that on.
of course.
Which then you might as well just have the allow list shift and not have to have the packages do anything.
Yeah.
And then help like flip on calling out.
Yes.
Which I think is what I was saying.
Mm.
I think
Yeah.
calling out is fine, and like I think there's very good reasons that a company would want to turn that on.
Mm.
I think it's just I think it has to be opt-in rather than default.
Sure. Yes.
Makes sense.
I would just say just one thing. I found that especially loaders are very useful when you're using them with the test runner, because that's the only way you can basically run tests in TypeScript natively.
Mhm.
So, and like just some feedback, I would like to improve the compatibility with the loader and the runner, because for example right now like features like code coverage
Mhm.
doesn't work with the loader. So
Like you want to check the coverage of the loader itself?
no, if for example if you're running a file, test file in TypeScript with the loader, the coverage will not work with the. If you use the coverage flag, it will not work. For example, like it gives you yes 100% clarification. So like I would just bring up this topic to improve the compatibility between test runner and the loaders in the future.
Maybe I'm doing something special, but like I have my own library that uses, I think it's like C8 or something for coverage, and it works.
Yeah, if you do know, I mean the native coverage for the test runner, like
Yeah, the C8 uses whatever V8's thing is.
But you have to run it with the market says that nowadays you have to run C8 as a different executable and you pass node as an argument of C8. Basically saying if you want to, for instance, run C8 within the main node instance.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So what is missing?
yeah, it's quite possible. I did some hoop jumping, but it worked. Okay. So get rid of the hoop jumping. Cool. Anything else? I have 2 minutes.
What are the steps that are needed to like actually get this over the finish line?
Decide the user experience, decide how we facilitate it under the hood, and potentially also how we handle updates. And part of that decision includes this remote versus built-in versus combination registry. If we go the package JSON route, then this is like very easy.
What is the package JSON route different than the built-in versus?
No, they are.
It's the same thing,
No, they are different pieces.
Okay.
So the package JSON is where you would record your choice to say, I want to use TS Node to handle Node stuff. And then the registry is your options are ES Build, TS Node, blah, 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 blah. Pick one.
On this, just a suggestion. Sync up with the package stream, since they are trying to standardize the packages on these. So you might want to choose with them a format for packages on entry. Since the standard, try to put a standard on the keys that we usually put the packages on,
Mhm.
Node, Vim, whatever.
Right.
You might want to check with them which would be a good name for this configuration variable.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Just information.
The other question I have is, with doing it remote, are you only going to allow remote loading from like Node.js.org, or are you going to allow like remote Node.js.org as a default, and then like I can point to whatever URL I want, or have you thought about that at all?
I imagine at least V1, we would do our own thing and then consider those other problems later.
Yeah, because I could just see a future where like, people have their own things and they want to just point it to their like internal registry one rather than the Node website or like something like VPN or whatever, or one of these teams is doing development and want to actually like be able to test it so they have it up on their own server or a local path.
Sounds like a V2 feature.
Yeah.
I guess I'm wondering, like, the simplest or smallest MVP would be Node when it sees a .ts. Is it just pre-invoking some command that you put in the package JSON before, like, okay, run this, and then, starting, just doing that pre-step, is that the minimum that's needed?
I imagine from an implementation standpoint, we would take the file extension, our registry would be keyed by the file extensions. If there's a match for the file extension, then it would have a list of things that can handle it, and then it just blaps them out. So you basically have like a hash map whose value is an array.
But that list is in the package JSON, like the choice you made.
The choice you make is recorded in the package JSON, and then this hash map is either built into Node itself, and we add it to like the resolution algorithm, or one way or another, there would have to be a step in the resolution algorithm to say, I don't know what this is, and then it checks wherever that is.
Right, I'm just like stripping it down to the simplest in my mind is like, yeah, we need to say, we've got a TS, we got to do something. It seems like we're reading that something from the package JSON, so like at the runtime, once the choice is made, that seems pretty straightforward.
Yes.
Like, we could even, I'm not saying this is the right answer, but we could even just say, we don't know how to do a TS yet. Run npx, like, we wouldn't even have to give the options and do the installation. We could even like tell them run. You could send them to a web page and say, okay, here's the instructions for how you install ESLint, here's the instructions how you install this other thing.
We floated that idea previously. It was not popular because we were like, this would be very simple to do. And the other one as well. But I imagine we would probably still have a web page that gives them more information, but they were like, we want like to hit the enter key.
Yeah, I just like I can imagine we'll give something, but then like you said, there'll be some update now that the install we do isn't quite what ESLint wants for its install anymore. It'd be really nice if there was just like that part was the worst. But anyway, I'm not,
Sorry, what do you mean, the update?
If it would be really nice if somehow we weren't tied to the installation, because as soon as we start saying, hey, we're going to start the installation, that can break, right? And then next, do we have to ship a new version of Node so that the installation is now updated to the newer version of ESLint?
Sorry, why would this be a problem? Like if the installation fails, then that's like not Node failing to install it.
Right, but I'm just imagining that like as soon as we have a list and now we run something for each thing in that list, those things could change. ESLint says, well, no, you don't install me this way. The next version you have
Oh, like Yarn was used, for instance, or something, and they, for some reason, don't want you to use Yarn.
No, it's just installation, what you have to run to do an installation can change over time. So I'm just
Oh,
imagining
okay.
there could be a bunch of maintenance around that list
Maybe that
and
is,
turning that into an install.
yeah, maybe that's part of the registry. And if we have the remote one, then they can update that live. If not, then this is the thing that's compatible with that.
Right, okay, so that would address, like, if it was just your choice, but okay, so it might be the choice and the command to run the install and.
There might be like an extra choice of there, like use Yarn, use this, other flags, that sort of thing. But we want to keep it as minimal as possible. And then like if you need to tweak it, you can. Cool, I think I'm slightly over time. Any last things? Cool, thank you.